Welcome, ladies and gentlemen,
Came up on the screen.
to the next episode of Casting Magic. Tonight, Keith Melcher and I are joined by Wendi Pettis, a good friend of ours and a fellow filmmaker. We're really excited about tonight. We have some really cool stuff to talk about. We're going to be talking about the Black Hills Film Festival. We're going to be talking about Wendi and her adventures in filmmaking. And we're really excited. This is going to be pretty cool. Patty has joined us. I can see that now. I try to keep an eye out and see who's joined the conversation and give shout-outs whenever possible. So go ahead and feel free to say hello to the world, Wendi.
Hello, world. Hello, Patty. Yep, don't know you. Seen your name many times on this, so glad to have you back. Yep, going to be exciting, and we have some tales to tell that we've previewed already with each other.
Yes. And, of course, joining me, as always, Mr. Keith Melcher.
Keith!
Say hello.
Hello. Having a good time.
I'm having a good time. We're definitely glad to have you here, and we're looking forward to talking with you. But as usual, we're going to kick things off with Mr. Melcher's movie review.
That's what it is. Yeah, good job, Ryan.
I was clicking like on one of the things with the stuff.
Why is the guy with OCD in charge of this again? Tell me that.
Because the computer works better. That's the only reason. Yeah.
Yes, I was going to say, because somebody else here has terrible knack with technology.
That's me.
Anyway, the Keith Melcher's Movie Madness. Hit us with the review, Keith. What are we reviewing today?
Today, I decided to review The Shape of Water.
It's
right there.
We can't. That's what.
Blu-ray.
Okay.
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 It's of course won Best Picture and some other awards this year, and I was really excited to see it because I'm a big Guillermo del Toro fan. And honestly, this movie did nothing for me. Absolutely nothing.
Did nothing.
No, and maybe it's because I'm a cynical bastard and I just don't believe in love anymore. But the love story, it did nothing. She teaches him a couple of words in sign language and feeds him some eggs, and then all of a sudden they're in love, just banging in a bathtub. Ultimately, that's what this movie is about. It's about a lady banging a fish man. That's it. No layers, no subtext. Just a lady banging a fish. I write a movie like that. It's called Deviant Crap. Guillermo del Toro does it. Oh, it wins all the Oscars.
Well, you see, that's just it. You have to become Guillermo del Toro first, and then you can do whatever you want.
That's right.
What was that?
Yeah,
and it was murky water too. It was really murky water. It wasn't even clean, but that was good because then you couldn't see everything.
Right.
So.
But I'm going to chalk that up to being a win. We can't see everything.
Well, I don't know. The story itself, it's basically Beauty and the Beast with elements of the creature from the Black Lagoon. That's it. That's all. And I mean, it looks cool. It's got some cool production design. The design of the fish creature is cool, but he looks a lot like Abe Sapien. A lot of that has to do with because Doug Jones played both characters.
That would make sense.
But and there's some good actors in it. I mean, Richard Jenkins, the guy who played General Zod in Man of Steel, Michael Shannon, he's really good in it.
Mm-hmm.
But
I do like Michael Shannon.
I
enjoy his work.
He plays yet another creepy bad guy in this one.
Well, he does creepy bad guy very well.
But you know he's a bad guy because he washes his hands before he takes a piss instead of after. That's a whole scene in the movie.
That's a whole scene, huh?
Yeah. And there's a musical number at one point, and when that part came on, I had already checked out of the movie, but then we have a whole black and white song and dance number, and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
There's a song and dance number.
Yeah. But he starts singing at one point, which is a dream sequence, but
they don't even allude to that in the trailer.
He's like 1950s style musical. Relative Festival for the Eyes, folks.
right?
Interesting.
And that would be the one time in a trailer where they didn't include everything, because most trailers have everything, but they knew they had to leave that out. So it's like, that's, stunning. 'Cause they could have gotten musical fans, because of that, but they lost that crowd.
I suppose, did they, I mean, they could have just thought to leave it out of the movie in general.
That would have been fine. I would have been okay with that.
Kind of
Yep,
like
could've.
the song and dance number from Spider-Man 3. We all could have lived without that.
Yeah, and you promised never to bring that up again, and here you go.
But I didn't
Yeah.
I? Just for you.
Yeah, it's. I don't think Guillermo has stopped himself since Pan's Labyrinth. I think every movie he's made since then has just been slightly less good as that one.
Well, this is going to sound probably disgusting to the rest of the world, but I have actually never seen Pan's Labyrinth. That's one of the few Guillermo del Toro films that I've never had the opportunity to watch.
Yeah, you need to watch that one.
I have seen Crimson Peak. I really enjoyed Crimson Peak.
Yeah, Crimson Peak is good, but I'd still.
You just
Well, they marketed that one as a horror movie, and it wasn't a horror movie.
No,
No.
it wasn't. But I still thought it was a very enjoyable story. I liked the way it was done, and of course visually I just enjoy Del Toro's style and his way of telling a story.
Yeah, his visuals are really good. I just think he needs somebody else to write the movies for him.
But then it wouldn't be his movies, Keith.
I'll write them for him.
There you go.
I'll let him do my version of the lady banging a fish man. Everybody wins then. Especially the lady.
I don't know if that's a win for anyone except maybe you.
I don't even know.
I wasn't aware that you had a fish banging movie. When did you? That's.
I had a weekend to kill a few weeks back.
That's great. that was a terrible joke.
I know.
So overall, though, I mean,
it's not a horrible movie. It's just it did nothing for me, and I don't think it should have won Best Picture.
well, that's kind of the way most people feel about the winner of Best Picture almost every year. There's a large portion of people who are like, I don't think that should have won Best Picture, but I don't know.
Yeah, Go see it, I guess, if it's on HBO, but I wouldn't pay money for it.
But you did pay money for it, Keith.
I know. I paid money for Justice League, too, so there's that.
That almost makes me want to kick you off the show right now.
Please do.
We do need to give a big shout out to Tracy over here, who has said hi to Wendee, and we've yet to say hi back.
Hey, Tracy, how's it going?
Hope you're
I'll see if I
enjoying.
can see my comments. Can't see my comments. Yeah.
Are there more comments on there, or have they just? I don't know if they're actually updating or not.
I'm looking. Oh, okay. No, Tracy. Oh, Tracy. There's so many Tracys, like on film stuff. Hi, Tracy, and she's like my friend. Yeah.
Oh.
She's very supportive. She's awesome. Awesome girl.
Jim Luthold has joined.
I'm like going like this now.
Yeah, I know,
ducking
you're like
of the
ducked out
picture.
of the picture.
I know. Well, I like the top of my
Well, we had a guest, ladies and gentlemen, but she keeps disappearing. It's magic.
I know. I'm back. I'm just gonna not read anything. You don't have to read everything to me.
I'll see what I can
It's like
do.
too many screens.
I get caught up sometimes and I forget to actually look over at it, which is unfortunate because I would like to get the audience involved. If you guys have questions,
I'll
well-
kind of discreetly duck.
yeah.
I got it.
Well, if that's the review, then we will definitely move along to Miss
Yeah.
Wendi Pettis.
Didn't sound good. It didn't sound good. So
Yeah. I'd still like to see it just with my own two eyes. But,
Yeah, on like you said, on HBO or something.
Yeah.
Don't spend money. Well, he has it. So you can just
Yeah,
get
I know.
money.
I don't have to worry about spending money now because
Exactly.
Keith did
Yeah.
the bad
Yeah.
part for me, so
You do.
I
You
no
do.
longer have to worry about it.
Right.
Phelan has joined us. Hello, Phelan. Welcome to the show. Tonight we are interviewing Wendi Pettis of Baby Doe Films, and hardworking at the Black Hills Film Festival right now. I understand to help get things ready.
Yep. Oh, well, yep.
Wendy, why don't you
It's
go
been pretty
ahead
intense.
and
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about yourself and Baby Doe Films. Introduce yourself to the world. Ow.
Okay.
As I heard
Well,
myself.
let's see. Hello. I'm Wendi, and I have a indie film company down here in Hot Springs, South Dakota. Brian and I have got to work together just a little bit, and Keith on someone else's film, and that's how I know them. We also been in Cinema Fest together, which has been a blast. Been in a couple of those where they showed our films. And I got into this not too many years ago. I worked on theater and different things and acted and worked on other people's productions. And at a Black Hills Film Festival, about, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, there was this great seminar by this director, and he was talking about, you keep waiting for the right circumstance or the right equipment or actors you've heard of or whatever. And you know how you go to a film and you go to Shape of Water, you're like, oh my God, I could do that, I could do something better. And so after you work for enough people, you just think, I want to just simplify, and I have a story to tell. So this director gave this seminar, and he's like, it doesn't matter if you have an iPhone or you have a Canon or you have a Red. If you have something to tell it, tell the truth. And whatever kind of genre it is, go at it with truth and show it. And he said, get out there and do it. Cut, and get out there and do it and move the story. And we talked, and it was just this great workshop. And I went and I wrote a film and did it. We got our cameras the week before. I had a cameraman coming from Montana. And he bugged out of last minute, couldn't come. And we seriously found somebody who knew something about digital cameras, and because it wasn't my thing. And ordered 2 on Amazon, and they came. And no kidding, it was like the very next day we were out shooting. So, that's pretty bad. You're like, oh God, I don't even know how to, use this lens and stuff and lighting and whatever. But it turned out to be I think, a decent story. I cringe, of course, when I see most of it now at the technical aspect. The sound, oh my gosh, Rode microphones, thank God. But it was when you have your best shot, sometimes they weren't turned on.
Yeah.
So you take your second best. Yeah, I love
Of course,
that.
I know exactly how that goes.
Yeah.
Don't we,
Like, God, that
Keith?
first pick, it's like, oh, that was the keeper. But anyway, that was a blast. And then we refined that one down into a better short. It was an anthology, and got a short out of that. We've done a couple more. We're in editing right now. So I've had a year where I couldn't get into this one. It's all shot, and just waiting till there was something hold me back. But it's been a blast.
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, worked on other ones, but it's really fun to tell your own. But you definitely learn a lot, working for other people, like being on a bigger production sometimes. So
Oh yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
know. I love it. I love the people. I love film. We're whole different types of fans. Ryan and Keith and I. And I'm older. I like drama. I like things that make you not cry. That isn't the goal, but I want it to make your heart do something.
Yeah.
And that's what I appreciate when I go to something. If I'm, just whatever it is.
You're looking for that connection.
I'm all about feeling. I'm a feely, person and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's obviously the type of film I like the most too. But I like action, and in fact, action made me have a little funny dream. I was starting to tell.
Oh yes. We have to hear
yeah.
about the dream. Wendy says she had a dream, and I
Yeah.
told her that she
I
had
a
to
dream.
save it for the
I
show
had a
and tell everybody about it.
dream. I had a dream. So anyway, I must have been thinking about doing this today, but last night we watched Blade Runner 2049. So I haven't seen it yet, and so we watched it right before bed, and I had ice cream and wine, and so all those factors in my head. So this morning, before I woke up, I had this big long dream. So I don't know where I was when I started. I think I was at work. I was with Jamie and some other people, and my face started I just couldn't kind of talk right. It was like, oh, what's going on? And I was getting huge and like this, my jowls were gigantic, like they were like mumps or what we think mumps would be because nobody has mumps now, so who knows? But they were like great big and they got bigger and bigger, like a gopher and down here. And I'm like, my God, I got to do this thing with Ryan and Keith. And I have this thing hanging here. And so then it was kind of tight, and then all of a sudden it started moving. And I realized I was incubating 3 little horses, like the horses in Blade Runner. You know, they were the same size. And they were in here.
Oh.
So I had 3 horses in here. And I'm like, and they're like, why are you? I'm like, I don't know. I didn't know I had them, you know. I thought, how am I going to get them out? And I thought, and they said, they're ready to birth. They're ready to, you know, come out. And I didn't know if I was going to like vomit them out or, and I was trying to get somebody to get like an X-Acto knife to like cut them out so I could get them out of there. And I thought, well, even if they do, I'm going to have all this skin hanging there for tonight. No, and by then I couldn't talk at all, right? And because they were just and they were moving, and I could feel them, and they were just like in the movie. But so I'm trying to get them to call like a veterinarian. I tried to get them to call a doctor and the police, and nobody can make their phone work. Nobody can call them. And finally, I got a hold of someone. Help me! And then they were gone. And then I don't know how I got rid of them. But we figured it out. Somebody had given me like a round thing, like the eyes in that movie. They had the eyes was how you identified DNA. Well, somebody had given me an eye, but it was a marble, and they'd made me eat it. They said, you have to eat this. So I must have eaten 3 of them. So I woke up, and I was like so glad that was a dream. Like, God. And, you know, sometimes there'll be like a cat laying around your neck or in my house or something that's making, you know, you like have a weird thing or your arms bent funny so you dream, you know, you jumped out of a plane and broke your arm. But nothing. So anyway. Yeah. And I hate
earlier when you mentioned the horse dream, that's not what I had in mind.
Yeah.
That's really, I don't think that's what I had in mind either. I
wasn't riding it. I was carrying them. I was carrying. I was like a surrogate horse. So anyway, that's how I dream. It's crazy. It's just, you know, my whole family has stuff.
I tend to have very vivid, weird dreams as well. But I can safely say I've never been a surrogate throat carrier of horses in my dreams before.
Maybe not.
You did indeed. That's very interesting, and it has left me with an interesting visual that may lead to my own dreams now tonight.
Yeah, was it Shallow Hal, like way back, that movie where they had the fat suit on somebody? It was like that kind of.
It could very well have been. I can't remember. I think I've only seen Shallow Hal like one time, and I don't even remember if I saw it all the way through.
That one or something like that. So, yeah, well, I've had a lot going on, so maybe that just kind of released, like, oh, things will happen, and we'll all get through this and get everything done. So that's what I'm hoping for. Yeah.
Well, Jim says that you have a wild dream. He thinks that's a wild dream.
It was a wild dream, and it was typical, but I thought it was very on point and, you know, such a direct connection to. So I'm kind of scared to see what I watch tonight because there's a film every night for sure. Right. At our house. So.
And we have I definitely have to point out Mr. Aaron Duran says Magic Time rules.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
Of course it does. Yeah. Thank you.
Of course it does.
Thank you, sir.
But to reaffirm is always good. Yeah, like, follow, share, right?
Exactly. And Phelan, I can't believe you haven't seen it yet either. I mean, that just seems like the kind of movie that should be like right up there. I really enjoyed Blade Runner 2049, but I'm also a big fan of the original movie, so.
I thought it was really fun. It was fun. It got panned on a lot of things I looked up because I was trying to see where it was filmed and stuff. But I was like, really? But, you know, there's so many that are so much alike that I have to start keeping a journal because they're not that one necessarily, but all the, you know, the CIA and the oh, the terrorists and the this and the that and the cops that are good and bad. And I love them all, but they're, I watch them, I buy them, I get them, and I don't even know if I've seen them or not. I'm like, I don't know. And Reese is like, I have no idea either. Like, we don't know. We're just getting too darn old. So we watch them again. It's like, well, I was tired when I saw it. So.
Oh,
Anyway.
Jim says it was Gwyneth Paltrow who wore the suit in Shallow Hal.
Yes. Oh, right. It was. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So no wonder it looked really funny on her.
And we have Ready Ryan 1 from Aaron.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but I'm going to go with that.
Go with it. Yes. Sounds good.
And
Well, I am here. I've got information on the festival.
Yes.
So I don't know where you're going to start.
Well,
with that.
let's go ahead and just we'll go ahead and jump over to that because I think you actually already answered my other question, which was basically going to be, what made you want to be a filmmaker and how did you get involved? And you already talked about your the seminar. So let's go ahead and jump into the next question, which is, of course, the Black Hills Film Festival. The Black Hills Film Festival. Which is next week, by the way, everybody who's watching, next weekend. What can you tell us about the festival? I mean, let's start a little bit more with the history and stuff first, and then kind of work our way into what's upcoming.
Okay. Well, this is the 9th year, so it started 9 years ago. There were some instrumental people who are still there that were with it from the beginning, the Chris and Rick Van Ness from Hill City. Throughout the years, we've had different people super involved. There was one board of directors works with IMAX. She did have to step down this year because of other things, but that they've always had a connection to IMAX, and she still is helping us with that. So there usually is an IMAX film. The mission is to have films, from anywhere submitted and all genres, but especially, shooting for really trying to get some South Dakota submissions and encourage filmmaking here, and giving us one thing they've always done. And I don't think I went to the first one they had, but I've been to all of them since then. I always just got the pass and went, and loved it. But they've always had a lot of seminars, like every year there's something going on. I've had some of my old programs here looking through them, and we've had ones from just, different directors, from costumers to just different things about funding. Like Sean Covell did one on, how to make a presentation to try to get sponsors or investors for short films and everything like that. There's so many, and that's something I'd like to highlight for this year too, which we'll get to. But they like to really honor the filmmakers that come and encourage ones here. So that's why they try to have those, where people can get to them and have really good education. It's a nonprofit, so the funding for a lot of those things come from the South Dakota Arts Council, John Vakurovich Foundation, things like that. There's a lot of different levels of donors, any level, but some of the big things cost a lot to bring in, so you have to have something specific. Yeah, it's pretty amazing, the budget and the things they work with. And the one film that Vakurovich helped us with this year is called Rumble. That's Friday night. It's Rumble, the indigenous people that rock the world. So it's all about indigenous people who were involved with rock and roll from the very beginning till now. And it features all these different artists, some that, I had no idea even that they have any indigenous blood in them. But it's an amazing film. Martin Scorsese is in the trailer for it talking about it. And one of the producers, name is Stevie Salas, one of the executive producers. He's a guitarist and one of the, right now rated the top 50 guitarists in the world. And Haggerty's is sponsoring a party afterwards with him. They were so thrilled that he was coming, So, and he's highlighted this, Stevie Tyler. There's different people, Buffy St. Marie. So, some of the big ones we have to pay a lot of money to get. Right. And then you have to pay money to bring the guest artist in. So there are artists like that, but there's also ones that just don't. So they've always had quite a variety of long, short, student, international. 1 year the feature that won was from France, and the guys came and attended, the filmmakers. That was cool.
Oh, that is really cool.
So isn't that awesome? I just loved it. And it was just in Hill City. And that was very nice, 'cause you could just go one place and be there. But they found, people are, we're always changing and our demands are different. And they just won't drive that much. So we'd have people saying, well, I want to come, but, facing reality, the biggest audience and the biggest place people gather to is Rapid City in the hills.
Mm-hmm.
So they started adding the Elks and stuff. And then we've had them at the Journey. Now this year we have one night, there are ones in Rapid, Spearfish, and Hot Springs all the same night, the same program. So you're not missing it, wherever you are. But kind of incorporating more of the Black Hills to it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why that changed. So
What is? I didn't even know they were doing it in Spearfish.
yeah, Thursday night.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
Thursday
night.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
What's
So it
playing
goes
here?
Wednesday through. Was playing that night are 3 short documentaries and 1 long one. And the first one is called Zamora. It's a student film from Mexico. The second one is Black Hills Canyon Skating. The filmmakers are from Rapid City and they skate the creeks when they're frozen over. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3 is one of my favorite films in the whole festival. Oh my God, I love it. It's 12 minutes. It's called Ode to Joy. Right up my alley because, it's all like, oh, and you laugh and you're just like, it's so neat. But it's people in a nursing home. And they especially profile a couple, but you see them, these people getting together in this room and they are part of a kazoo band. And I mean, they are so cute. It's like it keeps them alive and they dress each other and they get each other ready and they have outfits and they're like, we have a gig today. And these people they go and they have this, and it's just hilarious. But this one woman is the type that, always wears her makeup and jewelry and she's one of them they focus on. And when she's alone, she's like, really, we're just sitting here to die, and so this is, but it's like awesome, I love it. And then the last one is a long one called Unbranded about wild Mustangs. They ride from Mexico to Canada. And that is out on Netflix, I think, right now. And people who have seen it, it must be, I've just seen bits of it, I didn't watch the whole thing. And they said, we can't wait to see that on the big screen. So that kind of goes with the theme this year. It's called Big Vistas, Big Stories. So a lot of how they have it written somewhere, but like how the terrain or the backdrop shapes your story or shapes your people.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a lot of things with a lot of scenery in.
Is that kind of an ongoing thing, focusing on the theme? Like, do they push that?
Like try to have a certain one. They don't do that like as far as letting it out for the submissions. It kind of is, you see what comes in. And it's like, oh, there's a lot of stuff that's vast or, things. And so they kind of have to think, what's the cohesive thing? Mm-hmm. It's not picked to fit the theme, I would say.
Okay.
Maybe some are picked. Maybe, if you had like so many to pick from and 2 really went with that and they were all completely equal, got the equal amount of screening votes, and stuff. But, there might be things like that. But there's things from, like Andrew Keitlinger, our South Dakota filmmaker, his is Wednesday night, and it's filmed up by Pier, and stuff. We have One Shot, One Kill with Wade Everett, and that's shot in a field where they're shooting pheasant hunters, and that's a suspense one. So there are different themes. I have, like other years, like, I don't know how long they've been doing that as far as that goes. Like one year was like action, like a lot of action things. They had Stephen Lang that year and different stuff. So anyway, this year they just kind of went with that for the theme. But yeah, there's a lot of South Dakota participation this year.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is all 3 of us.
Yes. Yes, we actually
do.
do have a movie in the festival this year, don't we?
We do.
Little something. And I just in time, too, because Justin just joined. So,
Hey,
so now we can
Justin.
plug the film just in time for him to be here.
Exactly. Yeah. It's in the last session. They saved the best for last. And one of the few, there's drama, but it's comedy too, comedic. So we need comedy. I do want to say that. Like, shout out to filmmakers. We need comedy. We need some comedy submitted because there isn't much. And there aren't many features either submitted. So, That's
I
one of the
imagine
things.
features, especially in South Dakota, they're probably far and few between. I'd like to see more get made out here, that's for sure.
Exactly. Or
Um,
even featurettes, like Justin's is, what, like 41 minutes long or something like that. Just things that are, I mean, there is a short, and you're not supposed to take a short and just make it, halfway. But, if you don't have the wherewithal, the funds and the time and stuff to do a feature, at least, if you have a big complete story, it's nice that there's, one like Graceland, things of that
yeah,
timing again, compared to just a lot of fives and then the 100-minute documentaries, such a spread. So it'd be nice to have those other ones to fill in. So, yeah.
yes. And I think that kind of brings me to one of the points I was going to make about getting involved and making movies in the Black Hills,
Yeah.
South Dakota. It's a really great place to film.
It is.
Beautiful, beautiful area, lots of diversity. And I would definitely encourage more and more filmmakers to jump on board and do that, make more movies, and get into those festivals because they're really cool. Like I know some of the people who are involved with the film festival as well. I don't know how involved Ryan Hall still is, but I know he is involved.
Yeah, Brian, we all know Brian, God. Everybody knows Ryan, we're all friends with Ryan. And he still is the face of the festival. It's like his voice you hear. He brings us continuity. Just because you count on, it's him in the ads. It's him, hosting a lot of things and stuff. And he'll be there. And, he's awesome and very supportive. He's a past president right now. So he was president and, did all those things then. But yeah, he's still on the board and, we love him. And yeah, it's like you just hear him, you're like, oh, that's our Ryan, So Ryan is on the board. Barry LeBeau, he, acts, and he's been the master of ceremonies for so long. He's our president right now, from here. And he was in Lakota Girls, which was one of them I worked on. And then Chris and Rick. Rick is on the board. Chris is the executive director and also the festival director, program director. So she has a giant responsibility. It's just amazing, what they get done in that office. It is what they have, and so many tasks, and so many of them can't be done until the last, 3 months or so. You have to wait till everything's in, and then all the notifications, and getting people to commit to come and to host events and to be the party person or whatever. I mean, it's just amazing. They just do such a good job, and really working with great people. So it's been fun. Then we had an awesome person this year, Randall Iverson.
Yep.
I don't know if you know Randall.
I am very familiar with
Yeah.
Randall. Yes. I get he
he's-
shot a commercial that I was in here recently.
Oh yeah, I saw you in that one, or I saw the shot from it or something. And he's just amazing. He did our commercials this year for it. We have 40 commercials airing on Hulu and Roku and all these things, and on local channels online. And he shot them, edited. Ryan did the VOs on them, but Randall is such an asset. He's very positive and gung ho, and he and I were really pushing to try to get the enthusiasm back for Hill City too. So we came up with the Big Picture Weekend idea. That was one of his big things, and then we just kept working it to make it happen and stuff. So that's why Saturday and Sunday are solely back in Hill City.
Yeah.
And doing the promo with the hotels and stuff. So
That's really cool.
yeah, but really want everybody go for it and start early. Like get your thing done and send it in. Anything on without a box, there's always a price.
Oh, yeah.
And the longer you wait, the higher the price goes up. And you have to make it part of your budget. I know I did that with Hike. It was like, well, I have so much money because I wanted it to be in festivals. I didn't want it just to go, where people are going to see it. I wanted to see reactions, and there's something different about having something yours at a festival because you have peers, and you see the audience, not just your hometown audience, but you see, your other people that you don't know watching, and you're in the back and they're laughing, or they're laughing where you didn't even know it was a funny spot, or, and then somebody you don't know might come up and notice some part that like, oh, I really related to that or whatever. But it's just a fun, place to have it, and don't be afraid of the no. Everybody gets lots of no you know.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Well, it just comes with the territory. You know, it's going to
Well,
happen.
it's done. Yeah, and another place is Film Freeway.
Yep.
And if you just don't have budget, you can even search like ones that are free or ones with a low budget, just for the fun of it. You know, and I've done that. I got one of ours at a festival in Florida, 15 Minutes of Fame, and I think it only cost $10 to enter it. But it got shown, you know, it got shown down there. So that was fun. I didn't go, you know, it's too long to go for that. But there's different ways to try. But we really, really want South Dakota people to try. And really, if you come to any of the sessions, you know, the one with the documentaries that night is good. As a filmmaker, I always like days where there's a lot of shorts, you know, myself, because I like to see the different, you know, things they're doing. So there's days of that. We have, I think we mentioned like, okay, Andrews is Wednesday night. That's the big kickoff night. That's in Rapid City at the Elks Theater. The first film that night is called Fragile Storm. That's a suspense film by a lovely director, producer named Dawn Fields. She's a friend of mine from LA, and she's like just on fire. And this film just did all these things. So I actually, you know, we were like, can you, you know, bring this one to South Dakota? Hasn't been shown here yet and stuff. And so that one's really good. And I know there's some other stuff, but Andrews is the big, you know, main event that night. Thursday, if you want to go, I've heard people say, oh, there's nothing that's adult, or it's also, you know, not clean is the word, but you know, like where are the F-bombs? You know, where's the you know, modern stuff? Thursday afternoon at Hay Camp is your shows. Okay, they're awesome. The first one is called Moose. It's a foreign film from Scandinavian producer. It is dry. I've told you about that one before,
Yeah.
Ryan, Moose, and I've never gotten it to you, right?
No, you have not.
And I keep saying, I know, and I keep saying I'm gonna burn that and get it to you. Anyway, we got it here, and it has won all over the world. It's just so good, and it's a short. Even the credits are outstanding. But it's like you just sit there and you're just blown away by like, oh my God, that's what's happening. And I don't know. To me, it's just hysterical. It's just hysterical. So that's that day. Where is there a thing? One of them that day is called Snapshots, and that deals with 3 generations of women that have sexual preferences, shall we say, that are interesting. But it has, I can't believe I'm like drawing a blank. I should be looking it up. But there's an actress in it that everyone will recognize. And it's brand new out on the festival circuit. And even though it's kind of big time, and we were really thrilled they submitted it, you know, to our festival. It's like, isn't that awesome? Directed by Melanie Mayron, for heaven's sakes. So anyway, a grandmother's secret collides with her granddaughter's secret future. But that one is that afternoon too, and you can have a brew, you go to Hay Camp. So that's a new venue for us going in there. That afternoon too, Belladonna, the morning after, obviously the morning after pill might be involved. And there's one there that kind of is really relevant with the Me Too movement and, you know, women empowerment, called Beauty Bites Beast. That's a documentary. They had a long version. We got them to short it down into 50 some minutes. And it's part of it was filmed on one reservation in North Dakota and a couple other places where just teaching women to fight back.
That's really awesome.
Just not feel like they're a victim. You know, if you think right away, you know, I'm being attacked. But anyway, those are the ones that afternoon. So that's a very cool time slot, Thursday afternoon. I'm like so excited about that one. So don't miss me. If you can go see Moose, see Moose.
I will definitely keep it in mind. I'm supposed to have my kids
so
that day. So we got Justin over here left a couple comments. He says, well, first of all, he says hello.
Yes.
And then he says, it's always been my thought that movies shouldn't be longer than they need to be.
Absolutely.
I think that's a very good observation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I would definitely say that that's true. And I would also add to that, though, that from it might sound in contradiction, but it's a similar thing. I have always kind of operated under the pretense that the story should be as long as it needs to be, and it fits along the same lines, but it gives a little
Right.
more freedom to the actual story. Because I don't like making arbitrary cuts to a film. I don't like just cutting for the sake of cutting. I think that the movie and the story still needs to be told and needs to be respected, and not just from the creator standpoint, but from the story standpoint. I think that if you overcut, you're doing a disservice to your story in general, even if it is fitting within a certain time parameter. I think that's the more important thing is realizing that the time parameter itself is what's arbitrary, and that the story is really what's important, and it all comes down to pacing and what works and what doesn't. And sometimes, you get to a point in a story where you're like, well, this has to stay. I mean, I could cut it,
Absolutely. Yep.
but I think you still need to respect the story enough to say, like, I'm going to keep this,
Yep.
regardless of
Yeah.
what it does to the time, the length of the movie. The length to me is not as important.
Right. I do think though, where he's saying, 90 to 120,
Yeah,
anything that can be done in that time period, that's pretty long. And we've all seen some and they've had some features at this that could have been 60, really. And I think the thing about shorts, when you're talking like a true short film, not a featurette, but a true short film, they don't have to have the ending. You don't have to come to resolution. You don't have to you just have to you want the people to get the drift. And this is just from things I've heard. That's very hard for me to do. It's hard for me to stop and not see if the guy killed himself or not,
Right.
or whatever. But you've seen it in features. That's what features are now too. They end. You're like, so it's kind of up to you. But shorts especially, I think when you're doing your own, or you're doing online, YouTubing, whatever, in our Cinefest, we can have all kind of links, but some places there are very strict guidelines.
Oh,
and
yes.
they're just not going to look at it if it's kind of in between. It has to be really good. But I think a lot of people do leave stuff in that, I have that in Hike. because I love this certain, place. So, maybe I dwelled on it or something, and I tried to be ruthless. But you can only go ruthless so far, like you say.
Yeah,
you can't
I
just
mean,
cut. I want to make it 50 minutes, or I want to make it 82 minutes. Well, you get to a point, but there's, I think sometimes that's when you really have to let go and have other people watch, and maybe not your significant other or whatever.
Right.
You have to have some people watch. And then are they drifting at all? Is their thought drifting? Because it might be really cool or really neat, whatever.
yeah.
But
Well, and
that doesn't-
in many ways it kind of
but if
comes
a
back
movie-
to, like, you don't want
Right.
you don't want your art to always conflict with the technical. The technical is
Right.
important, but I think the art probably sits a little higher on the scale. And at the end of the day, you still want to make sure
It
that
depends on
you're
the type of filmmaker and the film, and what it
I mean,
is.
you still want to make sure
the
that
one
you're
we're
making
doing-
the art that you want to make. Not just like he said, like Justin said in his comment, not just fitting some arbitrary time limit
Absolutely.
for the sake
Absolutely.
of doing it.
Yeah. I think of in like Walter's Return, the part with Larry Whitecrow. When I have him walking the big long field, toward the rock that he's going to climb, and I wouldn't cut that out for anything. But I mean, if you were just going, well, the story it shows him walking, well, he can just walk across that field. But it's like, the music builds and this and that, and there's some pieces, they have to be there for the mood, not just because it's a part of the action, like, okay, blah, blah, blah. But they do tell you, just really be careful, cut enough.
Yeah.
So it's not. But I think.
Well, I
there are
guess to put it simply, I don't ever want my movies to look like a Michael Bay film, where
Exactly.
where it just jumps
Yeah,
from
and we'll never be
one
like
thing
that.
after the next.
Yeah,
There's no
Oh,
breath.
no.
There's no development or anything. Just
Right.
action, action,
We're
action,
not
action,
gonna do
action,
that.
action.
Yeah, we actually have characters, with real backstories and things
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that. So
And
I agree.
a scene needs
Yeah.
to breathe sometimes, and the actor
Yeah.
needs to be able to breathe. I don't. it's weird. The acting in a Michael Bay movie is actually a very good point, because it's not that the actors are bad, but everything is so cut that you feel like you're not really getting a reaction. Like there's no real emotion behind any of it. It's just say your line and move on to the next part. And
Absolutely.
That
Yeah,
stuff to make
even
thought she really is really, really bad.
they just cut away from her on purpose, right? Or cut to her on purpose.
Right, yeah. They didn't hire her for her acting ability, let's just say that.
We wouldn't do that over the shoulder, like back and forth
here.
as well. Yeah. Right.
Aaron Duran says SD needs to make it easier to shoot movies in the air.
Oh yeah, yes,
I agree.
they sure do. Yep, they sure do. We've lost, films to that reason. States that give them, tax incentives, all kind of things. You don't have to do all of these permits and things, but absolutely, look at New Mexico. That's well, I know of one that hopefully it will get filmed here, but I know a different state is courting them. Absolutely, and that's something I think that. I don't know how much it would help, but to get active with the film office, give them comments, if you know any legislators, how important arts are and what it does for the economy.
Yes.
The one that was going to be in Hot Springs was going to bring in millions of dollars to just our county, let alone the area around it. And it didn't happen. I hope it does someday, but, you go so long and I don't know. But, they don't get it. And as more other generations come up, somebody has to help encourage these things and speak to elected officials. Unfortunately, that's how it happens,
Right.
We really want them to do stuff. I do. I want them to have more tax incentives and to, have a better fluid or more, maybe additional resources. We've tried to make them with the Black Hills Film making pages and different things like that where we can connect with each other. But as far as monetarily, absolutely. And
Yes.
sponsors, get it with hotels. Don't you get it? If all these people stay there, they're all going to eat here and, whatever. But you can't blame them for going somewhere else or where they've set up great big, sets and stuff, the sound stages.
Oh yeah, that's actually a dream of mine would be to someday actually have my own sound stage that I could rent out or lease out, for people who want to make movies here. And of course, just because, I want one for myself as well, because I want to be able to make my own movies there. Because they're handy to have.
Right.
But yeah, having those tax incentives.
Really good. Yeah, you'd get a lot of use. Whoever could do it, or a group or a foundation, 503Cs, it takes work, but those are really adult things to do, to get done. But it can be done because we're all learning, we're all learning how to do some things. And I don't know, I think it would be great with our scenery. Oh my gosh. Oh,
say hello.
Oh,
there you go. You can say hello.
It's the cat around the neck thing. Watch out.
Now go away. Go away, cat.
Exactly. Yeah. But that would be awesome. And just a little bit back to that length, that's why, some festivals too, it's they have such things. It's okay, mine's 15 and a half minutes. Forget you. What do? You're not going to cut off part. But one other thing with shorts, people do, their credits are too long. You can cut that way often. Mm-hmm. They shouldn't be very darn long. If the film's 10 minutes long, you shouldn't have
Sometimes we have to drag the credits out because the movie isn't long enough, though.
But it wouldn't hurt.
How does that work, Keith? Has that ever happened before? It sounds like if it's a familiar thing.
Yeah, some guy. I
Like
know it happened to him.
Of course, they say that, and then you'll see one that you're going to it at the very place they taught you that, and they'll have a 4-minute credit. You're God, they got in and they did that. Whatever. It's just arbitrary. It's interesting with the festival here. Just a little about how that happens. People submit on Without a Box for the ones that are going to be juried, and then they go through a screening process. It takes all these things online. Randall, Rick have really hard on that to get them all checked in, things like that. Then it goes to people that just watch movies. a certain amount of people. Some have certain kinds, and they're selected ahead of time. And we can see them. I can see them, but people on the board are not judges at all. Okay.
Right.
So like I can look at them, but I don't have time to watch 90, or whatever. So anyway, they go out to these people and then they rate them. And, then there's enough ratings that, you kind of see where they come in, and then they go off, like say the whatever on up to be for the final judges. Those are, they're listed in our program, like they're Academy Award, winning people in the industry that are, very professional, been there a long time. That's who actually picks our winners. So just a little bit about how that happens.
Right.
And then we talked about like some of the films that are curated, like we bring in like Rumble. We wanted Rumble. We wanted Moose. It didn't, there's some of the categories, like if things weren't supposed to be made before a certain time period, and it was, but it wasn't up for awards then.
Right.
It wasn't up for awards. They understood that, and we understood that, and it was an agreement. So there's a few certain things shown. If we were flooded with enough submissions that were great, you wouldn't have to do that much, unless there's just certain things people want to see, That one IMAX, they always bring in an IMAX film, things like that. But the submissions will be on Without a Box again next year, and
Very nice.
yeah,
That's really
that's
cool.
that's a little bit on that. So how that works.
Awesome.
So I always wondered. I'm like, well, I say that, but really,
No, it is actually interesting once you finally get into it and you hear how the process works. And
Right.
And I'll be honest. I mean, who wouldn't want their movie to just be wanted at the festivals? Like,
Oh, yeah.
that would be the coolest thing in the world.
course.
If somebody called me up and they're like, "Hey, we've got a film festival and we want to show your movie," rather than me having to submit it and wait for them to reject it.
But
That would just be the
there's
coolest
some
thing ever.
Seriously, there's some that I've reached out to, and we never heard back from them or something. Or there was one we wanted just to show, and it already got distribution like right before the festival, and the agreement was already made. If we had made an agreement before they got it, and stuff. But exactly, and that was like this guy, John Helberg. He's like awesome, and I'm like, I tell people about Moose for years, and he's like, it's been everywhere, and he's like, well, how would that work and stuff, and he was very agreeable, So there's just a couple like that, that were brought in that way, and like I said, they're not up for awards when it happens like that.
Right.
So I kind of found that as a comfort, because you think, it's not fair. What I would like to talk about, I don't know how many, potential filmmakers are on here, people who are involved, or fans, or whatever, but I would encourage anybody who can to go to the seminars, even if you're a fan, because that's what I started doing, when I was just kind of a big fan and doing things like makeup on them. What did I need to do, going to a costuming thing, or to a thing on how to finance your film. But I've always went, and I've always done that with, whatever industry I'm in or interest, I'll just take it in, because if you get something. But there's 2 seminars this year. They're Friday afternoon at the library, I believe, Rapid City Library. At what time? Am I looking at the right year? Yes. 1:00 they start. Amazing. And they came to us, okay? Well, the first one is Andrew Keightley. His is the first seminar. He's doing one on harmony between the director and the actor. So how cool is that? He's done it, and he's brought in big names, so that'll go in conjunction with the second part of it. But, look at his accomplishments and how he's, grown, and his films have grown and, matured. And so I think that'll be great, to hear him talk. And they're always fun, and he'll be coming in Wednesday. So, the more of a festival you go to, the more you can, meet people and talk to them, and you don't want to monopolize their time, obviously, at a party, but they're real people. This is us, it's like, hey, he's from South Dakota.
Well, and if you're a potential filmmaker, I mean, it's an opportunity to speak with like-minded individuals, and it's a chance to learn something new and exciting.
Yeah. And they're indie, so they respect you. They get it. They get it. We're all in it together. We're all trying to build each other up, and make it happen. But his is the first part. The second part, these people contacted us. It's SAG Indie, like, they're SAG-AFTRA. AFTRA,
Mm-hmm.
which is, the professional level, where obviously they're union, this and that. But there's SAG Indie, which they promote just helping us indie filmmakers with funding, with how to do things. They have amazing website that has, you can just ask all kind of questions and forums and contracts. But their national director is coming. Her name is, and I might not say it right, Darian Gibson. She's coming and doing a seminar, and we were just like, "Are you kidding me?" No, it's so exciting. But the big push this year from them is sharing info on, and I have it all written somewhere, but I'll just take it from the book. But it is how signing SAG-AFTRA low budget agreements from start to finish through low budget. That would be, most of us that were, but this is highlighting short film, low budget agreements and the importance of using SAG actors. Like if you want to get into bigger festivals, like we have great stuff here. I've seen great things. I've seen awesome things. I've seen funny ones and horror ones from, Black Hills people and around the state and our friends, Aberdeen and Minnesota. And then you see the ones that do get something. It's ones that maybe have a name, like ones that have gotten further and stuff. And so she's going to show us how to do that. There are ways, and we've had ones who have come, like actors who have come here that love indies so much. They have done TV, they've done movies, and then they end up loving indie so much that now they're just doing indies. Like people, so I think we'll be surprised at some of the avenues that she teaches us and, enlightens us about. And after getting the info on this, I went to that site. And it's just awesome. I've clicked on some of the things and the details it tells about, and they want us to succeed. They want us to try. They want us to tell our stories. So I think that's just cool. So
That is really
here.
cool.
Yeah, Friday afternoon. It's going to be cool. And then right after that at the same place is student films, a bunch of short student films. So
Great.
Honoring the student filmmakers. Yeah, there's one of them Friday afternoons about bullying and leading up to suicide. A Rapid City girl made it, and they might be interviewing her on Anya Muller, whichever one, Newssetter one, tomorrow. I'm hoping.
Oh, cool. I'll have to check that out and keep my eyes out. Little shout out to Mehmet there. He says, "Hey."
Hey, one.
And we have come to that point in the show where it's time to start winding it down. But we have
one last thing. Big Picture Weekend. Come see Justin's film.
Yes.
In Graceland at 3:00 Sunday afternoon. And if you come to Hill City, get a room the night before because you get your room. If you go to Host Hotel, which is listed on the website, when you get your free bottle of wine and chocolates and all these things from the city. So, okay, let's wind it down.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to move on to one of my favorite parts of the show because I named it so very cleverly. Ryan's speed round of speedy questions. This is where the real interview comes in.
Good.
Yes.
I like that.
And it's pretty simple. I just ask you 15 random, sometimes ridiculous questions, and you try to answer them as fast as you can. We're not too picky. Maybe we'll add a timer at some point in time once I master the ability to add more stuff to this show. But for now, there's no timer.
Ready?
So not too much pressure. Are you ready?
Let him ready.
Okay.
Yep.
The world wants to know, who's a better dancer, you or Keith?
Keith, for sure.
What type of food would you be stranded on an island with forever?
Lasagna.
Lasagna. I'm getting hungry. If you could fist fight anyone in history, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh my God. Fist fight anybody. Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali.
I mean, just because, I would rope it up, but he would rope it up, maybe. I don't know.
He probably would.
I've never fought anybody in my life.
What is your favorite game of all time?
Oh, I don't play games much.
You don't play any games? No Monopoly? No nothing?
Oh, like those kind of games?
Yeah, any
I'm
kind of
not like
games.
Zelda, I'm not like those. Favorite game. Oh, Scrabble. Yeah.
Scrabble. Ooh.
I like Scrabble. Yeah.
Scrabble's a good game. What is your favorite movie?
American Beauty.
That's a good movie. That was one of my top favorites. It's still one of my top favorites, but it was number one for a really long
I'll
time.
stop in my head.
Uh,
Okay, what's your top favorite?
my top favorite, Blade Runner.
Okay, well, see, we're so insane. The first one.
Yes, the first one. Although I will have to admit, in recent days, I have contemplated the idea of replacing it with its own sequel, which is kind of weird. But I digress.
That's a big compliment. Yeah.
Your
awesome.
favorite television show?
Oh, God. Game of Thrones.
Ooh.
If we can go,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody loves Game of Thrones right now.
Yeah, but I love it. I love I stop it just to see like how they frame it. It's just like, oh my God. It's so beautiful. Okay.
When you get bored, what is your fallback plan?
I have not been bored.
Ooh.
So,
You never get bored? That's awesome. I wish I had those moments.
Yeah,
There's no
There's so many
time.
things to do. Crap, I'm really curious. It's like, oh, to have time to, do something else. But if I was gonna waste time, maybe
Yes,
poker.
let's go with that. Poker?
Yeah, poker.
It's the zombie apocalypse. What's your survival strategy?
I'm gonna go down in Jewel Cave with some seeds maybe and a grow light and like dismantle the elevator.
Dismantle.
Nuclear war also Jewel Cave. Yeah.
Very nice.
I have thought. Yeah, because there's water down there.
You've thought about this.
And
You've put
bats.
some.
I have, yeah, actually. You could eat the bats for a while.
Ooh, very good. What's your best impersonation?
I don't know that I have one.
You don't have one?
You could challenge me. I don't know. I can't think of one.
I challenge you to impersonate Keith.
Oh no. Okay, here's the. Yeah, my computer doesn't work. My computer doesn't work.
Spot on.
Yeah. I don't know.
What's your favorite ice cream?
Oh man, so many. Right now it's caramel crunch.
Ooh.
Oh God, yeah. They had it on sale. I bought it. It was like wonderful. I ate the whole thing.
Now I'm getting too hungry.
I love ice. Yeah.
What?
No strawberry.
No. What website should everyone have in their bookmarks?
I want to look through mine. Oh God, mine are so boring. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm like, yeah, can't think of one. Probably Magic Time Films.
That is the correct
YouTube
answer.
channel.
You win the
Yeah.
internet.
See, I knew. Yeah.
MI6 wants you to become the new 007. Do you take the job?
Yeah.
Most disgusting
For real
food
or
ever
in a
made.
film?
Either or.
Flan.
Flan? You don't like
You know
flan?
flan?
I know flan.
Oh God, I hate flan. We just hate flan. I hate flan. I had huskies that would eat turkey feet, and they wouldn't eat flan. I hate flan.
That is weird. Number 14. Why is Keith Melcher such a sexy stud?
Oh, he's so hot because he's got that little giggle, and he's not like on that computer all the time because it doesn't work. So like that's cool, and he's always hanging out with you. So like he's the wingman beyond winging, and I don't know. God, because he has that cool sofa in the background with all that stuff on it. You can just
Yes.
go dive on the sofa. Yeah, I like the sofa. It's red,
Check it out, folks. Check it out.
sexy. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah. I know. It's waiting. Yeah.
And the last question, number 15, and probably the most important question of all. How did you become such a sexy stud?
Oh my. Oh, how did I become? God, I was like born that way. Yeah, I was born that way. And I'm working on, and I'm adding it to it. I'm like 20 pounds more sexy than I was 2 years ago. So I'm just so, the exuding the
Exuding.
jowl. Yeah. Yeah.
Minus,
I don't
minus,
know.
minus the
It's
impregnated
really,
horses.
if we weren't all so tired, we probably would be sexy, but, we're all just sitting on time, right? God,
That was it. That was the last question.
yeah.
Thank
Those
you
are pretty
very
good.
much. You like those?
Those are pretty
I try to keep them fun and I try to keep them interesting.
I'm especially glad you did the bad food because flan, that was like truth. It's, telling the truth, telling the truth.
You're like, you need to get this message out that flan is disgusting and the
God,
world should
it's
just
awful.
do
Don't ever
away
make
with
it
it.
for me. I will.
I was a little worried about the Muhammad Ali answer, though. I have a feeling you probably wouldn't win that fight.
No, I didn't say I'd win. You said who would you want to?
Oh, this is true. I did not actually say that you would win, if you would win. But it's interesting.
No.
It's interesting to see in my head, my mind's eye, how that
Well, I was
fight
trying to think of a
looks.
woman that I would, but I don't know, maybe Justin. Yeah, we could fight.
You'd go fight Justin.
He'd have that grin, smile, yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is all the time that we have for today. Thank you so much, Wendee, for being on the show. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to check out.
How many of it? You can get a ticket at the door, $10 per session. Yeah,
That's right.
come see us. Yes.
Definitely go to that. You can check out. Where can we see your films? Let's make sure the audience knows where they can see your work.
Yeah, the only thing I have online is Walter's Return. It's on YouTube. And sometimes when you search it, I don't know, it doesn't show up. So I guess if you went to the page, like our Facebook page for Walter's Return, it has a link to it. Yeah. So I don't actually have Ike on there yet. Because I'm ashamed of the sound in one scene. But I need to. Yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks. You can go and see Walter's Return, either on
Yeah.
Facebook or YouTube. You can also don't forget
Right.
to subscribe.
Yeah.
You can follow
Pardon?
us here
What?
on Facebook. Follow our fan page here, Magic Time Films. You can also subscribe to us on Patreon. I definitely encourage you guys all to check that out whenever you get a chance. You can subscribe to us for as little as $1 a month. 50 people would be $50 a month for $1 a month. And of course, there is also the Black Hills Film Festival. Make sure that you go and check that out. You can head over to their website and get all the details there, or you can just watch this video and get all the details from Wendee herself. And make sure you go and check out some of those seminars too, especially if you are an aspiring filmmaker. That, my friends, is that.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Don't forget to subscribe. We are out of here. See you guys later.